Joran stood, hunched over against the wind atop one of the jutting columns that formed a sort of path between the island where they arrived and the next closest one to the north. Black clouds blotted out the sun, making mid-morning feel more like twilight. Thunder cracked and lightning ran through the clouds without arcing to the ground. So far, at least, the sky had only threatened to kill them. It hadn't actually tried. He dearly hoped to be off of these far too small pillars when it did. His soulmate, Mia, stood in front of him, preparing herself to jump to the next pillar. She had her silver sword belted at her waist and a look of grim determination on her face. The wind ruffled her short black hair, but otherwise didn't seem to faze her. The dwarves, Grubb and Stoneheart, stayed behind him, alternating between aloof indifference and glares of hatred, most of the latter coming from Stoneheart. It seemed nothing would convince the Centurion that Grubb truly held the Empire's best interests at heart. Joran had told them both more than once that, given their current situation, fighting amongst themselves would only make matters worse. He felt certain they believed him regardless of their sullen behavior. At least they hadn't gotten into any further shouting matches. Of course, the fact that the wind made it nearly impossible to hear anything may have had something to do with the lack of arguing as well. He didn't actually care, as long as they did nothing that lessened their odds of reaching the second island. "Are you ready?" Mia asked. Her words barely reached him over the howls of the wind. Joran nodded, not wanting to yell himself hoarse. She gathered herself and leapt with supernatural grace to land easily on the next pillar in a maybe 20-foot diameter landing zone. It seemed big, but the wind pushing you around made the landing difficult, or at least more difficult than it seemed for her. Their soul bond had given Mia physical enhancements that made her one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. Joran got clarity of thought that helped him see the best course to take in almost any situation. Useful, but right now he'd trade all the clarity of thought in the world for a little extra muscle in his thighs. Mia waved at him to join her. "Right, here we go again." As soon as the most recent gust passed, he took 2 strides and jumped with all his might. His right foot hit the edge of the pillar. Something crumbled. His heart leapt into his throat, but Mia grabbed him and pulled him to safety. Joran fell to his knees, gasping for breath. That had been the closest one so far. "You good?" she asked. "I'm alive, thanks to you. I'm also glad we don't have to do this too many more times." "Think we'll find anything good on the next island?" Joran forced himself to stand. "I don't know what we'll find, but if it's as dead as that last rock and we can't find anything to drink, well, I'm trying not to think about it." "Think about it," Mia insisted. "You're good at thinking. If anyone can get us out of this mess, it's you." Her faith heartened him even as he feared it might be misplaced. Unless they found food and water, he could think as hard as he wanted, but it wouldn't stop them from starving to death. "I'll do my best." They moved back to make room for Grubb and Stoneheart. They glared at each other one last time before Stoneheart moved as far back as the pillar would allow, ran forward, and leapt. He made it more easily than Joran had despite his armor, a testament to the warrior's strength. Grubb took a slightly different path. Ether flowed into his legs and he sprang easily across. Joran needed to learn that spell. It seemed easy enough, but so far he hadn't dared risk it. With a week of practice and nothing on the line, maybe he'd give it a try, but certainly not now. When everyone had caught their breath, they repeated the process over to the next pillar. Luckily for Joran, this one had a smaller gap and he made the jump without issue. After what seemed like a long time, but was probably no more than an hour, they all rested, safe and sound, on the new island. All of them, save Mia, breathed hard. For her part, she stayed a little ways apart from the group, hand on the hilt of her sword, ready for any danger that might appear. Joran thanked any power that might be listening that he'd ended up with her as his soulmate. When he'd finally caught his breath, Joran asked, "Grubb, can you use your magic to find us some water?" The geomancer made a sour face. "I can try, but there's so much corruption both in the earth and the air that I have no idea how the magic will work." "I can see the darkness swirling in the ether, but I can't feel it. Can you?" Joran asked. Grubb and Stoneheart both stared at him as if he'd suddenly grown a second head.